you're not going to assume that they believe in the things that like Marx believed in, right? So on the other side of that, right? Because like we had a debate here. It was Spectre and Shaw's Liberty, another a streamer. Shaw's Liberty claimed that he was a Zionist, right? And Spectre, anti-Zionist, is going to debate him. And so what happened? And for people who watch, they know exactly what happened afterwards. Spectre attacked his ideas, right? And Shadows just kept retreating. Right? Well, I actually don't believe in that. I don't believe in that.
Right? Oh, he was a Slovoj Zizek. Okay. That's exactly what Zizek did.
So
he was like, "Oh no, I actually don't believe anything that Marx stands for."
Well, if you accuse everyone on the left of being like full Marxist or Marxist Leninist, then it's really easy to say that I don't actually believe it. Then it's really easy to say that I don't actually believe that because you're actually putting it like if you tell me I believe something and I say I don't believe that, you don't get points by saying, you backed off your point because you accused me of believing something that I don't actually defend.
I'm gonna wait until you finish. Okay. No, hold on, wait. It's a small thing. Okay, everything you said would be true if the entire purpose of that debate wasn't to defend Marxism and the Communist Manifesto. That was the purpose of the debate. So Jordan Peterson came to that debate.
No,
I'm sorry. We need to be correct. The explicit of the event was called is something along the lines of happiness, which makes more human happiness.
Yes,
we're going to talk about Marxism. We need to talk about Marxism developed. Marxism has been written about in China, written about in every country around the world, right? We need to talk about Marxism, and so we need to talk about capitalism. I'm so sorry for cutting you off, Tom.
Yeah, sorry, but it was what?
Wait. But the Communist Manifesto is like it's like taking like a children's story rhyme about the Bible and trying to compare it and trying to use it in a debate against like the Pope. Like it's Jordan Peterson took it. The Communist Manifesto is a book. It's just propaganda put out there.
This is a nice try. This is a nice try, but
that time was pretty fucking based.
This is why this falls apart. If you make a children's book based off the Bible, you would encode in it the easiest principles, right? So that it would be synonymous with somebody that's more researched. It wouldn't be antithetical to them, though. So if you boil down the Bible into a children's book, the values that children's book espouses would be synonymous with the Pope. It wouldn't be antithetical. So that's the problem.
But they're also more complicated. They're also like there's so many caveats. Like when when we explain gravity, it's more complicated than basic gravity. Like there's all sorts of universal principles that regular like seventh grade science students can't understand. But telling people things fall at a certain speed is an easy way for them to understand the basics of like an ideology. It doesn't mean there aren't a bunch of caveats. There don't mean a bunch of like extra things to help you understand it more fully.
I'm not saying that there's not a bunch of caveats, but if I bring you a children's version of the Bible and you're a Christian and you said I reject everything in this children's Bible, you would be hypocritical to me, and you should be.
But the children's book,
you reject everything.
The children's
don't
book
you need to reject one thing?
Go on.
No, most things. I said most.
So, hold on. So we got the order. So we got a lot of people jumping in, right? Don't worry, Kobe. I'm gonna get to you.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. No, guys, you're doing great. So first of all, thank you, Phantom, for subscribing tier 1. That's really kind of you. All right, Tom, get your point out. Then we're gonna go to Kobe. Then we're gonna go to Aiko. All right, go.
Okay, so the children's book though is just saying like be nice or be good or don't steal or something like that, where there are lots of more like moral axioms and explaining and reasons for these things, to where like the Communist Manifesto is pretty much just saying like, hey, we should want these things. These are values that we should look for. That doesn't mean that it's going into detail on exactly what the ideology is or how the economic systems would work or anything like that. And that's what they mean when they're saying like there's a lot more detail, there's a lot more complication to when it comes to like someone's personal idea of communism and what they want to put into effect and how it would actually work in the real world, compared to something that's just trying to get people on board, just trying to get them to at least consider the idea of communism so that they can eventually get to a point to where they can actually like understand how these things can be applicable.
Yeah, the manifesto serves as an entry point to a broader ideology.
I agree with that. All I'm saying is that if you boil down a domain into its like meta form in the easiest form, if you disagree with those axiomatic beliefs, it's kind of hard to say you also agree with the nuanced view. So if I say, if there's a children's Bible that says be nice, and I say, you know what, I don't think people should be nice, the nuance of why you would expect someone to be nice doesn't matter, because axiomatically you disagree that being nice is a good thing, right? That's what I'm saying. So if you disagree with the children's Bible, you inherently disagree with Christianity altogether. That's all I was saying.
Okay, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot I want to address. Okay, so first things first. I think we should point out that there were many socialists and communists and anarchists at the time that disagreed with Marx and thought Marx was up his own ass and had many other different tendencies. So to say that the Communist Manifesto is like the entry point to communism is very untrue. It's the entry point to Marx's interpretation of one organization he had. He wrote. Do you want to?
He wrote multiple volumes. Yeah, but do you agree that the nature of that conversation was about happiness in the context of a capitalist or Marxist society?
Yes, but Marxism. Okay. The reason why we use the word Marxism is because it is a tendency of thought that has existed beyond Marxism. Engels wrote in it. There were other writers beyond that, Lenin, et cetera, right? Mm-hmm. And there have been tons of people, both out of the Soviet world, in the Soviet world, the Maoist world, the Tito. Yep. Yeah. So I think that in that conversation, I have a couple more points I want to get to, but I'll answer this. I think that in that conversation, just trying to keep it around using the Communist Manifesto about to be the complete focus, complete like anchoring point of your argument would be kind of like trying to use, and I'll use maybe a religious argument, like trying to use maybe the writings of one religious theologian to condemn, say, Catholicism. Now you made a very interesting point that I actually completely disagree with, which you said, if you agree, let's say that you disagree with one of the things said in the Bible, that means you're not a Christian. Well, hold on. There are tons of people.
That's not what I said.
Oh, sorry. All of Christianity.
Hold on. I clarify, because I thought you said something along the lines. If there's a child nursery Bible and you say I disagree with one of the tenets in the Bible, then you disagree with the idea of the Bible. Is that
yeah? So okay. So let me explain it again. Okay, when we make children's books of the Bible, we try to boil down a lot of the nuance into like axiomatic beliefs. And what I'm saying is, if you disagree with one of those axiomatic beliefs, then you're wholesale almost disagreeing with the entire religion.
I know. So here's
a great the end of the Bible, though, the end times, because everyone disagrees about that, whether people will be raptured at all or raptured before, middle, or after the uprising.
I don't think there's children's books that talk about.
We should all be really careful here.
A children's book is not a good analogy if like. Sure. Oh wait! Of course, it's the complicated things that they're not going to tell you in the children's book because they'll wait till later because it's a complicated thing, which applies to the Communist Manifesto and what they're saying, right? Right?
Yeah, it's like saying don't kill somebody, but that now Jordan Peterson makes the argument, well, we should be able to come into your house and steal all your stuff and there's nothing you can do about it, right? And they're like, no, I should be able to use self-defense and like stop you from coming in my house and robbing all my stuff. Like that doesn't mean that just because I believe killing is wrong, that I never kill anybody ever. Like there's more nuance to it than that.
Okay,
who have you killed?
I'm a little confused about the. Sorry, Kobe go, and then I'll try to.
I find it so silly to me that we are comparing the Communist Manifesto, which was a political pamphlet, just translated. It's 70 pages long, translated in the at the beginning to two languages that conspired revolutions around the world, to a fucking children's and nursery rhyme where it's like, and Noah took the lion and then off the boat. Okay, number two, this was a conversation between what was supposed to be like one of the leading conservative academics and one of the leading Marxist academics. If these two motherfuckers can't fucking have a complicated conversation, then
look, if a fucking Jungian psychologist is the leading conservative academic, then we're fucked. Okay, I'm going to dispute that. But
who else?
Wait, not Donald Trump. Jordan Peterson isn't a conservative, though. We should speak correctly.
Okay. No. I will fight you to the death on that one, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like.